Geek Chat, but I think it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks.
Which is basically
2
forever.
weeks.
That does feel like forever, doesn't it? Oh, I've just been so busy. So busy.
We
Even
can
my
tell
wife
you got your work cap on.
tonight, like my wife was like, "You're not doing a chat tonight, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "We don't have enough."
Was either.
I was like, "Yeah." I told everybody I'm gonna do a chat tonight because it's gonna be the last chat I do for at least a week. So, like, didn't really have much of a choice. So, talk about some geek stuff, some movies, some TV shows, some video games, whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't really care. This is just geek night. Have some fun, geek out, talk about some fun stuff. That's what it is. That's what it is. George is like, "Where's that sexy big booty chick on the panel?" I can bring her up. Hold on. No.
Somebody's got a weird mic open. Somebody's got like some wind going on.
Maybe it's you.
No,
I don't hear anything.
I can hear it real loud.
Yeah, I can't hear it too. He's going.
It is
Yeah.
at my end.
Okay. Is it still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What about now?
Nope.
Now it's
Gone.
gone.
Yep.
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 What about now?
Now it's back.
Yeah, it's back.
Okay, then it's Sith. Because I
Okay.
need Sith.
Just execute me now, I guess.
He's outside. He's not sitting in his chair tonight.
The gallows.
I am in my chair. I'm in the exact same place I am every day.
Yeah, it's real loud.
Pinky.
I wonder why I don't hear it.
I can hear it.
I hear
Might need
it,
to
but
unplug
it's
it.
barely.
Unplug it. What do you think this is? 1995?
Yep, you got to unplug it and plug it back in. You got to wait
Yeah,
3
unplug it and
seconds.
plug it back in. Turn it off and turn it on again.
Yeah.
Back out and come back in. See if that fixes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silence.
So how's everybody's weekend so far?
Horrible.
Great.
Damn.
It's death in the family.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Sorry.
But right, it wasn't by surprise. We kind of knew it was coming, but
Well, still, it fucking sucks, man.
my birthday's tomorrow, so that's,
Well, happy birthday.
happy birthday!
Somebody died, but you know what? It's my birthday, so
Yeah. And the Super Bowl's tomorrow. So, you know.
oh man, this is nice. This is nice. Oh,
Turn that negative to a positive any way possible.
don't get too down. My birthday's
Yay.
coming up.
Jesus.
Oh,
I still hear that wind howling.
Really?
yeah,
Yes,
I can still hear it.
hear it.
I don't.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
hear
wait.
It's still there.
It's real low. It's just real
It
low.
is low though.
Just mute yourself when you're not talking. There you go. We'll help it.
There you go. Yeah, just mute yourself if you're not saying anything.
Story of my life.
Yeah. If you ain't got nothing to say, just be quiet. No. So what's everybody been up to? Any cool geek stuff going on in anybody's lives?
Not really.
Not really.
I haven't been in the movies in a few weeks, so. Then again, you don't need to go to the movies if you got that website.
It's true. I mean, it depends on like whether or not you want to watch a crappy version.
Okay.
Right. It
I-
depends
I've
if it's
been-
good or not.
I've been waiting. Matt, what are your? If we could jump in, I do want to know your opinion on this.
Mhm.
Where are you at with Fantastic Four?
I liked the trailer.
Okay.
It got me. I mean, look, I as with everything Marvel nowadays, I'm not like overly excited. You know what I mean? Like I kind of temper my expectations nowadays with anything Marvel. But I liked the trailer. I like that they're doing kind of, and I know it takes place in like an alternate universe as opposed to all the other Marvel movies, which explains it. But I like the kind of late 60s aesthetic that they're going with to kind of be in this kind of 60s futuristic, retro world, which I think works really well for Fantastic Four. The only issue that I have, which may turn out to not be an issue at all, but it's the same one I've always had, which is I like Pedro Pascal a lot, but I've never seen him play a role like Reed Richards. And I've been reading, Fantastic Four comic books since, I was like 6 years old. So I'm pretty familiar with Reed Richards, and I've never seen Pedro Pascal play a character like that. So I'm very hesitant as to whether or not he will do a good job, or if he'll just be playing, somebody called Reed Richards, but doesn't really act like the character from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my only concern, but that's been from day one. I like all the other actors they picked.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Good fits.
Yeah,
the trailer looked good. I'm glad we got a peek at Galactus, like an actual legitimate the way he's supposed to look Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
I like the retro 60s vibe.
The costumes, love the costumes.
Yeah, the costumes look great. I like that it's not another origin story. Fantastic Four are already established in this world. I liked the trailer. It brought my hype level up. Of course, it really wasn't anywhere, but it got me a little hyped for the movie. So yeah, I dig it. Like I said, and look, Pedro Pascal is a good actor, and I've liked him in everything I've ever seen him in. So I'm sure he'll be fine. My hesitation is just, will he play the Reed Richards that I know from the comics, or will it be somebody else completely? I don't know. We'll see. And even if he does play somebody different, maybe it'll still be good. Even if he isn't quite the same character that I'm used to. He's one of four characters in the movie, four main characters. So it doesn't all rest on him. But I liked the trailer. I'm now officially looking forward to the movie, and hopefully it's good.
So I wonder
July's going to be a big week.
Yeah, because you got two superhero movies, both Marvel and DC, the same month.
Yeah,
so it's interesting which one takes the numbers.
What are they? What are they?
Fantastic Four and Superman.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be awesome for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both of them. Duke, we are going to see those, right?
Oh, together. I just talked about that with my wife. I'm like, he's gonna be close. We could just go to movies now. It could be awesome.
Superman will be July the 11th, and Fantastic Four will be the 25th. So,
where? Okay, my big question is, where are you with the Thing? Like, what do you think?
I like it. It is the most comic book accurate looking thing that I've ever seen in live action. And I've liked. Look, I liked the. First of all, I liked the two Fantastic Four movies from the 2000s. They're a little cheesy and they're of their era, but I still like them. I still watch them at least probably once a year, and I still enjoy them. And I like the Thing in that because I think for doing practical effects and putting him in a costume, it was fantastic. It was amazingly well done. It didn't look comic accurate, but it looked fantastic. It looked great.
Oh, I love practical effects. So
yeah, I do too.
I still like the way that looks. So.
Yeah, I do too. However, there's no denying the way they did him in this trailer, the way they've got him looking, is like straight off the comic page.
Well, and the fact that he's in the trench coat with the hat, that was always his thing. So, yeah.
So I like the way Thing looked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's a good movie. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. Marvel is 50-50 at this point. They're not the studio they used to be, where you could count on getting a good movie every time. I do like
what we lost, man. Remember that if it was Marvel, you knew it was gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah,
that's so sad that we're like, I don't know.
You didn't have any doubts, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it wasn't a big deal because like I growing up reading comics and stuff, and I knew all these characters, and I knew all the stories that the movies pulled storylines from and stuff like that. But just from like, because go to the movies with my wife, right? Like from her perspective, there was a time when like she didn't read any of the comics or anything, but she was hyper excited every time a Marvel movie came out.
Oh yeah.
Because she had gotten used to, like we all did, every movie being great.
Mm-hmm.
Every movie being like a step above everything else that was going to be coming out. And that's gone. That's poof, gone. I mean, even, when it's like we're going to the movies and my wife's like, okay, so who's Ant-Man again? And I'm giving her the rundown on the character because she never read the comics, right? She still would go and fucking be hyped for it, even though she didn't know who the characters were. Because if it wasn't in a cartoon or something, right? When she was a kid or hadn't had a movie before, she didn't know who any of the characters were.
Yeah.
And so, but she knew it was going to be a good movie. Right, she knew she was going to enjoy watching whatever it was, and that's how a lot of people felt, because there's a lot of people. I mean, obviously, it ain't just comic book fans that watch these movies, right? Like, if it was just comic book fans that watch these movies wouldn't make but like about 1/10 of the amount of money that they make. So the majority of people going to see these movies have never read the comics, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
So that's one of the things that I want to touch that for. Majority of the money comes from people that's not read comics, and people make like the argument, like for a fact, it's like the comic books had great stories. Yes, they need to be fleshed out and for making a movie out of them, but tell some of the stories from the comics. People try to say like, "Oh, we've already read that story. We don't need it rehashed again." It's like majority of the people out there haven't.
Yeah,
just do the story as it was in the comics, and it's there.
Yep.
They don't have to like reinvent the wheel and completely make their own stuff up. You have 80 years of comics to pull from.
Yep. Yeah, and most people, and look, I mean, I know every time they delved into a storyline in one of these movies, right? Like, I mean, I knew where it came from. That certainly didn't take my enjoyment away from it, and I knew the story it was being pulled from. So it certainly wouldn't take away people's enjoyment if they hadn't read the comics and it's a brand new, fresh story for them.
Exactly, and instead of pulling from the 80 years of history in the comics, they start pulling from the recent stuff that's bombed. Even the small market that the comic book market is now, the new comic stories don't sell, and that's the stuff they're pulling from. Instead of like the stuff that made them what they were.
Yep. And I don't know why they do it. And I think I don't know. I mean, there was about not quite 2 years ago, a year or two ago, there was those stories that were coming out that were being leaked that Kevin Feige was mad. He was bitching and complaining because of what Disney had done by basically not letting him like really one-on-one work with every project. They had essentially spread him too thin, and he wasn't able to, because I mean, let's be honest. Kevin Feige, when he was hands-on and for all intents and purposes like a second director on the movie, those movies were good. I do believe Kevin Feige knows what makes Marvel good, and he pulled from a lot of great stories from the comic books. He helped guide a lot of those movies, and by the time you get to Endgame, he's just not that Endgame wasn't good. Endgame was fucking phenomenal, but it was like the last movie that good that they put out. Like, he was just they were doing too much between the television shows and too many movies a year, and I think you do need, for better or worse, right? And I think with Kevin Feige it was for better. You do need a steady guiding hand when you're trying to do a shared universe like this, especially something that's related to comic books. You need someone who's over everything and has the time to really take a look at every script and every script change and how movies are getting shot and be there for every casting of any major character and really go over that shit to ensure, because I mean, let's be honest, even in the comic books, when Marvel gets a shitty editor-in-chief, their comics just go all over the fucking place.
Yep. You need
and when you have a good editor-in-chief at a comic book company, and they're like constantly watching what's going on and making sure that things tie together where they need to, and that things feel like they should feel, and characters aren't getting, ruined and abused, and whatever it is, right? Like the whole universe comes together, and it's the same thing with these movies. If you had somebody that could do that, and Kevin Feige was that for like the first 10 years, it's going to create a better product in the end. And because, again, we got all those leaks that's saying basically that, by the time Endgame came out, he was pulled by Disney in so many different directions and didn't have time to focus on anything, much less even one thing. You lost that. You lost that overarching kind of guiding hand, making sure shit stayed in line. And you had just Disney just wanting to do 500 fucking different things and go 500 directions and introduce this character and this character and this character and this character and spin off this and do this and let's do this and let's introduce this and let's do this TV show and this TV show and this TV show and this TV show and this TV show is the one you got to watch before you watch this movie, or this TV show is the one you got to watch before this movie, or you got to watch this movie before you watch the TV show before you can watch the next movie. And obviously, and then there's other mistakes they've made as well. The woke aspects to the people they were hiring to come in, and there's just a lot to it. But I think a lot of that could have been curtailed had there been somebody to just be like, "Yo, let's keep things on track. Let's slow shit down. Let's put out good quality products. We don't have to do 17 fucking TV shows a year and 4 movies."
Well, with Infinity War and Endgame, they've shown like the recent like little Q&A thing, like it's kind of jokey too, but the Russo brothers were answering questions, and they admitted why they fucked over Thor and Hulk. They didn't know what to do with such powerful characters. That's why they nerfed them.
Stephen Garvey just is wishing Leo a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
It moved a little bit. Just a little bit. Just half a chub.
It did. It did. It twitched. I got a twitch out of it.
Like a quarter chub. Quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But we'll see where it goes, man. I mean, I'm really hoping that Marvel takes advantage of Secret Wars wiping the slate clean to come back stronger. And I think they've had enough failures in the last 5 years. And I think they will continue to have failures with stuff like, Captain America 4 and probably some other things as well leading up to this, that hopefully that will slap the shit out of them.
Oh, I seen an interview with Anthony Mack just pop up on talking about why he got rid of the cowl, which is iconic for Captain America. He didn't like it. He told him he wouldn't do it unless they get rid of the cowl. That's why he don't have it in Captain America 4.
I don't like him at all. He talked about how Captain America is not about America.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I hope that movie fails. I hope it just bombs, because the fact that Captain America just said, well, the guy who's playing the new Captain America said it's not about America, defeats the whole purpose of Captain America.
Well, here's the thing too with
I want to
make this movie bomb even more is the fact this is the first movie they're doing that's actually tying into the Eternals movie. That's the whole thing. Adamantium appears from the Eternal that started to come out. They killed, not the Celestial. I mean, the Celestial that coming out of the Earth. That brought Adamantium to the world, and they've showed in the trailer for Brave New World that Eternal coming out of the Earth that they killed, and so this is the first one. I thought they were going to like wipe that from a different continuity because it sucks
Four
so
years
bad.
too late for that, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll say this: like, Eternals was not a good movie.
No,
But-
they should have just wiped it out so it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, the thing about the Eternals was it was not a good movie. However, it introduced some big world-changing shit for the Marvel Universe, and you really at a certain point, and this is the same thing I say about Kang, just fucking recast. You've introduced some big ideas. Fucking finish it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go and do the same thing you were going to do, right? That doesn't mean Kang's got to be like for me personally, it makes way more sense that Doctor Doom is going to be the main, antagonist for Secret Wars because he was in the comics. It makes way more sense for him to be that than for Kang to be that. But don't just dump a character. You introduced way too much. Same thing with Eternals. You introduced way too much. Don't just dump it. If you don't want to do an Eternals 2, fine. Okay? You don't want to have Kang be the go-to for, Secret Wars, fine. But you spent way too much time and too much energy to just walk the fuck away and act like it didn't happen. Because people aren't stupid. Like, we know you introduced this thing. Just
They
finish.
spent a ton of time on Kang.
I know.
We got two Loki's, 2 seasons of Loki, plus the Ant-Man and the Wasp. All that introduced Kang as your main big bad, and then he got his ass kicked by Ant-Man. You're the one who's the Kang that supposedly killed Hulk and Thor and everybody else multiple times. Got his ass kicked by Ant-Man.
It's to me, it's lazy, and it shows a lack of imagination and creativity when you can't make. There are, dude, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, but go to any they are filled with characters that are so beloved that at one point fucking nobody liked when they were introduced, or they went through a storyline that people hated, or whatever it was, and you didn't just give up on the characters. It's such a cop out.
Deadpool was not a popular character when he was introduced.
No.
And he was not the character that we know now.
No,
He was
put
just
the
a
time and
mercenary.
effort in to fix the things you have introduced. Don't just dump the shit, and then 4 years later, it's like, oh, we found adamantium in this giant hand coming out of the ground. Dude, you introduced so much more than that in Eternals. Like, things that have way more consequences than fucking adamantium. And it's just, it's such a fucking cop-out for a studio to do that. Comic book companies don't do that. They've stuck onto these characters. They give them new writers. They try new storylines. They try new costumes. They do different stuff to try and figure out what's going to work and what makes for a good storyline. And that's how you get to where you are. You don't just fucking introduce big shit, big ideas, big characters, and then just walk away. Fix it. Find somebody to fix it. Find a good storyline from the comic to bring it back. Look at Thor: Dark World. What would have happened if after Thor: Dark World they just said, Thor's just let's just back off from Thor. Let's just forget Thor exists. They didn't do that. They were like, no, we're doing Avengers 2, and then we're doing another Thor movie, and we got Avengers Age of Ultron, which I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's a fucking fantastic movie. And Thor was awesome in it. And then we got fucking Thor Ragnarok, one of the greatest movies in the MCU. Like, you didn't just fucking dump the character because it wasn't a great movie. Same thing with Iron Man. Iron Man 2 was not the greatest Marvel movie. It had a lot of problems. You don't just dump Iron Man. So
But I think that makes sense, Matt, when you're talking about a relatively creative environment in which comic books were and controlled, and yes, they were a business, and yes, they had to make money, but the guys who ran them and the companies who ran them wanted to put out quality art, and there was business aspect, and they wanted to make money, and that was there. But as much as there was the money aspect, there was the art and the love and the respect. And I think that what changes now is just the fact that we've shifted to a business, and the business is really what runs everything. And we just got to do enough to keep people happy and keep them hooked. And in the end of the day, we just care about the business. So if that didn't do good, it's on the chopping block and they're moving. That's the sad reality. I don't like it, but I think that that's the reality of what we're living in.
Of course, with the business aspect, though, from the beginning with DC Comics, though, they were run by like dicks that treated the creators like garbage. That's why there's so many lawsuits against DC by the original creators and stuff anymore. They did not respect their artists. They like burn you if you don't do what they say and pay them out little. You only had one other option: either go to Marvel or DC, and one burns you, then the other one treats you like trash.
Yeah. But I think you're right, Duke. I think that, and again, and that goes into the idea of like it shows a clear lack of creativity and willpower to make something work. Because you're right. In the end, they don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, pump something else out. Let's see if that catches fire. Nope. Okay, pump something else out. See if that catches fire.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's tons of and not just in comic books, but you know, in movies and television shows as well. Look at Star Trek: The Next Generation. Even the fans were like, that first season was fucking rough. Okay, that first season of Star Trek: Next Generation was rough.
Well, that one episode they basically killed off Picard and used like sciencey, like magically technobabble to bring him back to life. When that entity that possessed him and he beamed himself as matter out into the space. There's no way they should have been able to bring Picard back from that.
Yeah.
So the funny thing you bring that up. I'm in season 1. I've never watched all of the episodes. I watched it as a kid with my dad.
Yeah.
So I'm rewatching it, and I am in season 1, and it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it because
it starts to get its feet in season 2. And
I enjoy
season
it.
3 is when it really it takes off.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm having fun. I'm in the mode for like episodic adventures. I like everyone that's there.
Yeah.
Hey man, that noise is still going on. Whoever's doing that, it's really killing me.
But you see what I'm saying though, right? Like,
yes,
if you had just gone off of that first season and just been like, just give it up. We'd have no Next Generation. We'd have no Deep Space Nine, no Star Trek Voyager, no Star Trek Enterprise. Like, so many
died.
things wouldn't have happened, and Star Trek would not, like it. Yeah, you're right. It would have died.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have continued to get Star Trek movies like we did. We wouldn't have gotten new series, and Star Trek would have just been something that died. But they didn't give up, and they said, let's keep making it better. Let's do something. We know we have good stories to tell. We know we have good characters to write. Let's step it up. Let's figure it out. What can we do? And they did. And they did. And Star Trek Next Generation is one of the greatest TV shows to ever exist. And
they realized get rid of Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened to him? I mean, like I'm only in season 1. Did they send him
away? When does he go away? Season 4 or 5?
I'm not going to spoil it. You gotta watch it.
I don't remember when he disappears though. He like leaves after, doesn't he? He goes off to the academy at some point, but then he comes back.
Well, yeah, he eventually goes to the academy. I'm not going to say. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, I can't remember how long he's in there for like at least 3 seasons, maybe 4.
Okay. But they do quit making him like a Mary Sue after a while.
Yeah. But no, man, I just when I see what Marvel does with a lot of the stuff that they do, it just shows me they don't care about being creative. They're not even trying. They don't think they can do it. and I think it shows. And when you do stuff like that, like I said, Eternals, there was some really cool ideas introduced in Eternals that should have been paid off, even if the movie itself wasn't good, and it wasn't. But there was some good, cool ideas and characters introduced and concepts for the greater Marvel universe introduced, and those things deserve to be paid off. Kang deserved to be paid off.
The thing with the Eternals, that was kind of showing when they started to show their arrogance. They thought they can take any property and make it a success, not realizing Captain America, Iron Man, all these movies that were successful, it's because they're beloved characters. And they've got a history of decades and decades of fandom, and people know their names. I have almost 8,000 comic books. I've said this before, and I don't have a single Eternals comic book. Because they suck.
Yeah. But what doesn't suck is like the Celestials and some of the other things that they introduced in that. And while the Eternals didn't deserve, after that showing, didn't deserve a sequel, a lot of the other stuff in that movie deserved to get paid off. And Kang is another one, right? I'm sorry. Kang was great in Loki season 1 and 2. The way they introduced Kang, the concept of him, the different versions of him, which is all from the comics, by the way. Kang and all his, doppelgangers and all his versions worked really well in season 1 and 2 of Loki. It was just the Ant-Man movie that didn't work. And so, and the other thing is, like, I don't give a shit about actors. Fucking replace him. There are a bunch of other people that can play Kang. It doesn't matter. We had 3 different dudes playing Spider-Man in the same movie, okay? You can get somebody else to fucking play Kang and not have to explain a damn thing. But Kang deserves to have a story that pays off for him.
I don't know what the hell was going on for a while, too. You probably saw this, too. But so many fucking media out there, like science fiction stuff, the Earth is an egg. Or Transformers last night, Earth was Unicron. Transformers Prime, Earth was Unicron. You had Final Space, Earth was an egg for a celestial type being. Then the Eternals, Earth is an egg. I'm sure there's multiple more out there, but it seems like everybody had the same damn ideal for every damn science fiction thing. The Earth is not whole, solid. It's a shell for something inside of it.
Yeah.
It's like, why was that the running theme for so damn long?
I don't know. I think they watched that Doctor Who episode from like 2011. That one where the moon was an egg for whatever that thing was. I can't remember what that was.
Even back in the 80s, they had a Transformers episode where an asteroid was an egg.
Uh-huh. All right, real quick, I want to change topics. Duke, I want you to talk about the animated Lord of the Rings movie.
I hate that movie. That movie was a waste of time. I've never seen anything more disappointing in my whole life, and I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I just want to make sure I put that in there. I was angry that I thought I would like it. I was angry that I sat there, and I knew it was horrible, like the first 30 seconds of the movie, and it only got worse. Every moment was worse than the moment before.
Go ahead.
The only thing that was great about it was the popcorn, and I got to spend time with my dad. But other than that, I hated it.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather watch that movie again, or would you rather burn poop with diesel fuel?
I'd burn poop with diesel fuel 10 times over before I ever watched that movie again. That movie was actually a visual representation of diesel fuel shit on fire. So you could actually watch the same thing, and you would be seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it was horrible.
Maybe like a meme with like a S and Dukes. Like, can you define the difference between these two pictures?
It's the same thing. Yeah, I was so disappointed with that movie. Don't waste your time. If you want to talk about Mary Sue and just the dumbest story ever made, I don't know what they were thinking. The characters are talked about in like some appendix or something, and nothing's mentioned, and they chose the stupidest story ever. It was so bad. Nothing about it was good.
Well,
And the
wasn't
set,
I didn't watch it. Like I said, I think I got 15 minutes into it and I
it's so good.
stopped
Yeah.
because I found I realized 15 minutes into it that I was just watching my phone and
Yep.
playing on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I'm not paying attention to this at all,
Yep.
and there's nothing catching my attention on this, so I turned it off, and I've
No.
never gone back to try and watch it again. But yeah, I don't. It wasn't. I mean, my understanding, again, I didn't watch the whole thing, but isn't it basically like half of the Two Towers all over again? Like it's just another siege, another battle
Yeah.
at the same castle.
Yep. And it's a retelling of the Two Towers in the worst way. Like some bad guys come and then they gotta run and then they gotta go hide in Helm's Deep. And then the king like sacrifices himself for no reason and dies for no reason. And then his sons die for no reason for an enemy that has no reason to be there. And then the daughter kills everybody and then like she becomes the queen. Like it's so stupid.
At least it was stupid like in Thor and made the.
But then there's only like 30 guys outside of this camp, but there's like nobody really to fight. And then at the end, don't worry, the horses from the army come down from the same side of the hill that Gandalf comes down and saves them at the end, just like in the movie. And it's so bad. It's so bad. And so there's nothing redeeming. And I mean, arguably, the Rankin Bass Hobbit from the 70s.
Oh, I love that movie.
I still watch that movie. So
Yeah.
you can't tell me you can't make good like cartoon anime.
Oh, yeah.
And there was an opportunity here to you could have just done anything. You should have done a story with like some orcs and like some dwarves or trolls or elves or men or whatever you wanted to do, and just kind of have it woven in. Like, oh look, there's Sauron in the distance or something. Like, I don't care. You could have done anything, but you chose to. And the really bad thing is the tabletop game from Games Workshop.
Mhm.
They based their new release off this movie. Like the new release box for the game that comes out every 4 or 5 years, they'll do like a rehash, is from this movie. And I am very worried that they tied that together and what that makes the future of the game look like, because the movie did so bad. Why would you want your opening, like the tabletop painting miniatures game related to that? It's so bad. It's so bad. So,
Yeah.
I'm concerned. It got pulled from the theaters. It did so bad. I'm worried what this means for the future of the Lord of the Rings. I don't think we need to worry about the hunt for Gollum being an issue if Ian McKellen and Andy Serkis and Viggo Mortensen, if they all are tied onto the movie, which I think they are going to be.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
We should be okay. But come on, man. Who saw this and thought like, oh yeah, this is good? It's bad. It's
Yeah.
really bad.
Well, and Peter Jackson is actually doing that movie.
Wait,
Right?
the Gollum or this movie?
No, the Gollum.
Gollum. Yeah, he's doing the Gollum.
Yeah,
for Gollum.
that's like he's actually directing it. Whereas
Yeah.
I think like everything that has come out for Lord of the Rings ever since those movies, since 2001, he's like always listed as like an executive producer on everything. But I think now, like I think the Gollum movie, he actually is like that's his movie. He's directing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
again, like you say, you bring back those actors, you bring back him. That gives me much more faith.
Yep.
That it's going to be good.
And
Maybe I'm probably not as good as the original trilogy or anything like that, but like enjoyable at least.
Well, no, because I think that they are going to take their learning from the missteps of The Hobbit, which I know I like The Hobbit. It's good, but there are some missteps. And the things that made things great in Lord of the Rings, So I have some faith that actually it could be really good, and I think it's only going to be 2 movies, that's all it really needs to be. I don't make it into 3. Don't stretch it if it doesn't need to be.
That was the mistake they made with Hobbit. It should have been 2 movies.
Yeah, and they thought, oh, let's do 3 because it worked for Lord of the Rings. Well, that's because Lord of the Rings could have been 10 movies, really.
Yeah. I
The
mean, three like 4-hour movies, and there was still a lot that they left out of the books.
I did see a recent interview with Bruce Campbell talking about the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I did too, about the horse thing. That was
He
very
says
fun.
he hates those movies. He'll never see them, and he hates Peter Jackson. You know,
Yeah.
he thinks that Peter Jackson. I've heard he's a lovely man, but I don't like him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He tells the story because he filmed a movie during the same time in New Zealand, and they needed a horse for the movie,
Yep.
and he couldn't get a horse because Lord of the Rings had all of the horses in the whole country.
Yet that series, Jack of All Trades, he did, and that's why he wrote such a broke down mare in the show, because Peter Jackson had all the horses.
It's very funny, but so I don't know. I think we could potentially get a really good movie. The material is good. There's a bunch of stuff with Aragorn who teams up with Gandalf to hunt for Gollum, and we'll see what happens. But
Well, hopefully it's good. I always want these movies to be good.
Mhm.
We have come to an age of between woke politics making their way into storytelling, and between with now genre stories, and genre just basically means anything fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of thing, comic book, those types of stories. Now, because they have hit mainstream popularity, which, when we were all growing up, they weren't. All right. You were like, I remember being a kid in the 80s and even going into the 90s. And like, when I was, 14, 15, 16, dating, stuff like that, like I didn't tell girls that I liked Star Wars and Star Trek and comic books because you were a fucking nerd, right?
Yep.
And so now that those things are popular, and not only popular, but can make money, the entire, subsection of anything genre related has been just so co-opted by people who just want to make fucking money. So, you've got the people that just want to abuse it and use it to make money and don't really care about the stories or the characters that any of this stuff came from. And then you've got the woke politics getting pushed into everything. And between those two things, you just got a bunch of horrible crap that's been happening to all these things that we grew up loving. Whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, comic books, whatever it is, Lord of the Rings, right? Like all this stuff we grew up loving has been co-opted by greedy woke motherfuckers that just want to put politics in everything and make, bilk it for as much money as they can.
Yep.
And I want to go back to when people like, the original Lord of the Rings, where they were like, Peter Jackson seemed to actually care about making a good trilogy, or whatever. Go back to the first 10 years of Marvel, and Kevin Feige and those people involved seemed to really care about making good Marvel movies. And there's plenty of other examples out there of that, but
they respect what they're handling. Like,
yeah,
they had copies of the book on hand, and the actors were all reading the books because they cared about their characters, and they said, well, would my character talk like this or walk like this, or would he say like that? Would he put his hand up? How would he say this line? And they actually cared about it, which produces an amazing level of art, which is why it's respected. I don't know, man. I don't think one thing I will say this, when you talked about Star Wars, I have met a few people who tell me they don't like Star Wars, and I usually end up not liking those people. Because if they look at me, they're like, I don't like Star Wars. I get, like, you might not be into it as much as I am. That's okay. But if you tell me I don't like Star Wars, there's something wrong with you. Everyone should like Star Wars.
Yeah.
How do you not like Star Wars?
I agree.
It's just, dude, it's
sucks.
Uh-huh.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Well, I've
Man,
been
the
told
wizards,
that
grooming little young farm boys.
I've been told that Star Wars are for white people. So
No way,
that's why.
dude. Lando is the coolest dude ever. And anyways, I'm sad that we didn't get more of a Han Solo trilogy because that could have been a whole thing.
That was another one too, in my opinion. That was another one where that movie, I mean, it still made money, but it didn't do what they wanted it to do. And people had gripes about the movie. I had gripes about the movie. But in general, I would say 90% of the movie that I liked, I enjoyed. And that was another example of them just giving up at that point. Just giving up, walking away, getting rid of whatever his name was as Harrison, or as Han Solo. And yeah, they probably could have picked a better actor, but I thought he did a good job for what he did. I still overall enjoyed the movie. Yeah, about 10% of it I'll sit there and gripe about. But like, they just were like, fuck it, we're not doing that again. It's like, no. You can build on that. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff in that.
Mm-hmm.
You could build on. Yeah, there was some stupid crap in there too, but like, there was good shit to build upon. And they just went, well, people are bitching, and it didn't make as much money as we wanted it to make. And so just fucking forget it. Dump it. Walk away. We're never even going to fucking mention it again. It's like, dude, Han Solo is one of our generations, and by our generation, I mean everybody from like mid Gen X to mid millennial generation, right? Mm-hmm. So we're talking 1970 to like 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in that age range. Han Solo is a titular hero character. He is, he is an updated version of all the cowboy characters that kids used to love back in the 60s and the 50s and stuff. He was the scoundrel with a heart of gold. That is a character that deserved a trilogy. He's had 2 trilogies of books that were awesome, and like, you get a movie, yeah, it didn't do as good as you thought it did, but it still made money. Yeah, some people were bitching about some stuff about it, but overall, most people I know still liked most of the movie and thought it was, it had some redeeming qualities to it. Like, then step it up for the next movie.
Didn't that come out after
Last Jedi?
And that's why.
That's a big reason why. They didn't even wait a year. They released it 6 months after Last Jedi.
That's why. I'm telling you, had that come out before Last Jedi, I believe, because even The Force Awakens, like, it was received well. Like, I had my problems with it, but like, overall,
I had my problems with it, but I still think it was a solid Star Wars movie.
Right. So like, had they released it before Last Jedi, I think that we could have definitely had a Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah. I agree. And I think if you had just stuck to your guns and fucking said, okay, well, this was not perfect, but it was pretty good. Let's make the next one even better. Then what you would have had is 2 trilogies going on at the same time, and they would have been swapping year over year. Mm-hmm. And you would have had one that would have been pretty good and one that sucked. Because that one sucked anyway. So
we were supposed to, I mean, we could go back, but Matt, I'm not wrong. We were supposed to be getting a ton of Star Wars, and we're not getting it anymore.
Yeah. We're supposed to be getting a new movie every other year. That was Lucasfilm's plan. Every other year, we will get a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and now all that got scrapped because they've just been tanking.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have, we're supposed to be a new trilogy. They're supposed to have already been into a new, we were supposed to get a Boba Fett stuff, all kinds of other things we were supposed to get, and it was supposed to be a mix of a couple trilogies going on at the same time. And we not got none of it.
On what's the core of Star Wars, and want to push agendas instead.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what's her name? Patty. What's her name? Patty Jenkins, right?
Kathleen Kennedy.
She had this plan for Rogue Squadron, and I read a write-up that she had done on Rogue Squadron when it was originally announced, which has been years ago now. And listening to her talk about what she wanted Rogue Squadron to be, I was fucking hyped. She's the daughter of a fucking Navy pilot, and she was like really fucking excited about doing that for Star Wars. And she was talking about like, you know, her dad, and she was talking about doing something. She wanted something fun that had the energy and you know, gave you hero characters, but had like a bit of like Top Gun in it. And the way she was talking about this movie and what she wanted it to be, and how you could tell this was not just a paycheck to her. Like, this is something she really wanted to do. And she was talking about recasting, or, you know, obviously recasting, but bringing in Wedge as like the main character. And she didn't mention the X-Wing Rogue Squadron books, but the way she was talking in that interview made me think she knows those books. I don't know if she's read them all, but she's aware they exist, because she was saying things, you know, that were very reminiscent of those books that I read back in the 90s. And it got me hyped for that movie. And then like 2 years later, no movie, no production, no nothing. And just a little story comes out. Patty Jenkins has walked away from Rogue Squadron, and there was some blurb out there somewhere that like her and Lucasfilm couldn't agree on the direction of the movie. And I'm like, yeah, I bet. Because she sounded genuinely excited about that movie, and Lucasfilm was probably just doing what they do to fucking everything, you know. And she was like, this is not what I want to do. And so it just went away. It just poofed into thin air, went away.
So I believe that we could tie many mistakes to why we're at the point that we're at with Disney Star Wars. I think the what we could go back and say the catalyst for the downfall is the removal of what was canon. And I think that if you had changed and they had not removed all those successful, well-written books, right?
Yeah.
If you would have kept that there, not all of them, you can pick and choose, but the general theme of what was after Return of the Jedi to what we all enjoyed, the Thrawn, the adventures, the new Jedi, the focus on the children, the focus on the new generation, but still there was Luke and there was other things that would have launched Star Wars and those book series into a new phenomenon, because all you gotta do is recast everybody and like throw Mark Hamill in there as like an old Jedi, but have a new Luke, like, you know what I'm saying, just so you could kind of like have a nod to them all. But had you done that and just done a Thrawn trilogy and recast everybody and only said it 10 years later, you would have had a whole different Star Wars. Because think about how incredible it could have been if everyone was on board. Because if everybody's on board, then you're talking about Star Wars exploding. So I think that's the catalyst. That's what set everything into this alternate dimension where Star Wars failed. Yeah. Because they chose to deviate from where it should have been. We're going to get good stuff here and there and whatever, but there's no course correction, which we hoped.
If they had gone the right direction, like, you know, they wanted to have, the idea originally was they wanted to have every other year be a trilogy movie, and then the in between years would be one-off movies. And they started off, I think, strong. Again, a lot of people have got problems with Force Awakens. I've got problems with Force Awakens, but overall it was a solid entry. And they followed that up with Rogue One, which is a fucking phenomenal movie. Rogue One is fantastic. I can watch Rogue One over and over and over and over again. I love that movie.
Agreed.
But let's say they refocused and exactly what you're saying, you know, just recast, do stories or variations of stories. It doesn't have to be word for word of the stuff we already know works, right? The stuff that's already been written. And your first trilogy should be the Thrawn trilogy. And then you dip in and out every other year with another story, because there was fuck tons of them. one-off books, whether it was like, I don't know, Truce at Bakura or, whatever, right? Or do Rogue One. Rogue One was great, and like have those one-off stories. Do a solo story, a solo whatever the fuck it was called, right? Those are your one-off movies, and you do the Thrawn trilogy. And then after the Thrawn trilogy, the next one that should be done is the Jedi Academy trilogy.
Yes.
Which is from the books. That would be the next logical trilogy to do after that. The big series of books would make a great trilogy, where Luke's restarting the Jedi Academy and shit goes wrong and there's good guys and bad guys. And like, it's a great story. And then, but you keep dipping in with like one-off stories. They can be prequels. They can be anything. Who gives a shit, And you've got that's fucking, that right there, that's 12 years worth of content. You got 2 trilogies going at the same time, one every other year, and then in between movies, and that's just pulling from the first few years of the Star Wars book series in the 90s. You know what I mean? Just the first few years where you had like Truce at Bakura, and you had the Thrawn trilogy, and you had the Jedi Academy trilogy, and that's just the first few years. And then you want to keep going. I mean, it's endless. And again, I get it. They're movies, whatever. You're going to change stuff to make it better fit in the movie and whatever else. Like, cool. That's fine. But like we were talking about with comic books earlier, the stories are there.
Yeah.
The stories are there. They're fucking fantastic. They're universally loved by fans. Like,
yeah. And then
no reason not to just fucking dump them.
Yeah. And you know what? Get your beak wet by putting all the books out again.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? The books are hot. The books are hot because the movies are coming out, and everybody's reading the books because they want to see what's different, and then argue about it, and then we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to read up the book because the book's different than the movie. And didn't you know they did this and this and this?
Yeah.
They changed that. Well, you know what, dude? That's what you should have done. And okay, you got to pay these guys, like, I don't know, $10 million to get like the access to it again. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just pay them, because what we have now is a waste. And I'll tell you this: the second they should have reset the timeline. They should have reset the timeline. They should have said, you know what, guys? We see that things are going really well with Mandalorian. So that trilogy that you saw, that's in a whole nother universe. That's the dark universe. This is the light universe, and this is like the happy part universe. This is where we're at now. That's another timeline. We might return to that and do a movie there, but we probably won't. But this is the timeline we're in. And everybody would just said, okay. No one would have left Star Wars because they cared so much about Rey.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody gave a shit about Rey.
Yeah.
No one gave a shit about Rey. But yeah, they don't want to do it. Or they haven't done it yet anyway. Will they ever learn their lesson and decide to unfuck things? I don't know. So far, Star Trek hasn't done it. Marvel hasn't done it yet. I guess we'll find out in July.
As long as Kurtzman's involved.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out in July if DC's gonna do it. Maybe. I don't know. Will one movie tell us if DC's decided to unfuck themselves? I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it's not, and it's not like there's not, even from a business perspective, it is not like there isn't clear evidence that when these projects are done correctly, when these projects are done in a way where when it's surprisingly enough, it's weird, I know. They keep trying to tell us that, it's just toxic fans that bitch about this. But yet, that is the gauge, right? Because the movies that toxic fans bitch about don't do financially well. And the ones that they don't bitch about do financially well. And it's not like this is, even if you're just looking at it from a business perspective, right? Like, you should be able to look at that and go, look at the first 10 years of Marvel. Look at Rogue One, look at the original Star Wars trilogy. Look at the prequel trilogy. Whatever it is, like look at the things that made us the most money, right? Did fans bitch about those things? Nope, they didn't. No,
Mhm.
they didn't. They loved them. They fucking loved them. So I'd say it's a pretty damn good gauge to actually listen to the fans, and not just when they complain about something and say, hey, this isn't right. This is bad writing, whatever it is, bad characters, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you don't just go, oh, you're just racist, sexist, homophobic bigots. That's why you don't like it. No, maybe it's because it really is bad. It just sucks. You wrote
Yeah.
bad shit.
You could be the one in the wrong. It's like when somebody calls you a racist just because they're losing the debate. You're like, I'm not racist, but like they just want to use that. It's like, well, you're toxic. No, I'm not toxic. You produced a bad movie, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Here's like the big, like, okay, most people who watch Star Wars are dudes, so we want to see a dude. And like we're all Luke Skywalker. We want to think we're Han Solo, but we're all Luke Skywalker. And we're like not Jedi Luke Skywalker. We're like farm boy Luke Skywalker. Like you put yourself there. Okay, we all want to be Han Solo, but we're not, man. Our friend down the street, he's Han Solo. He's cool. He's smooth with women. I'm pushing the red button, getting in the way. You know what I mean? So no, man. I just that's know who you're working with. And again, it's just a business, so they don't care. They just want to make money.
I don't know, man. We've been talking about it for at least a couple years now. At what point, if they really just want to make money, at what point do they start doing the shit that's going to make them more money? I.e., make the fans happy. When are you going to figure it out?
Maybe we could. Well, they're actually showing that they found some traces from USAID to gaming companies pushing the woke shit. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they did.
Disney was pushing that shit too. They were paying Disney to do that shit too.
Yeah, might be.
There's got to be a reason why they were doing stuff they know won't make money. They had to be getting money from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Now,
it does make more sense. If they were getting paid anyway to do this stuff, it would make way more sense why they kept doing it.
So it's all been a conspiracy to destroy the male persona, because they'll destroy everything we love because we love Star Wars, and they'll destroy what we love. They destroy Captain America to demoralize us. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, it's a good way to destroy people. Destroy all their heroes.
Buddy of mine, he was talking about too. Like he wouldn't be surprised they found the Marvel was getting paid, which is part of Disney as well. Because remember several years back when Mark Waid was in that lawsuit against Jawbreaker's guy, that one guy, that YouTuber that did his own comic, and Mark Waid got a super high dollar lawyer that he could not afford, Mark Zaid, who actually works with the CIA and other government agencies, and that was Mark Waid's attorney.
Wow,
that's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, he was one of the people that went after Trump, Mark Zaid, with the government.
Jesus.
So,
I don't know, man. I've hit the same point with everything, which is, I don't expect anything. I want it to be good. I'm going to go see Fantastic Four. I want it to be good. If it turns out to not be good, I'm not going to be hugely disappointed. Same thing with Superman. I want it to be good. I liked the trailer. But if it's not good, it's not going to be a big disappointment. The way things, previously would have been, right? Go back 10 years, right in the middle of Marvel's heyday. If Marvel came out with a really shitty movie, right, you'd be like, oh my God. You'd be incredibly disappointed. I'm not disappointed anymore by this stuff. Like, it's just like, okay, well, I want it to be good, but if it's not, it's kind of expected now at this point.
They started strong with Incredible Hulk and Iron Man. Those two were great movies.
Oh yeah,
the Hulk don't get enough respect for being a good movie. It's
a fantastic movie. That's a movie I watch regularly.
Because they wanted to destroy the what's his name? They hated him because he wanted to make an accurate Hulk movie. Ed Norton.
Yeah.
The studio hated him for some reason. Because he wanted to, like, more control of the movie to make a good movie. Which the movie was fantastic.
Yeah. He was a better Bruce Banner too than fucking Ruffalo. I don't like Ruffalo as an actor, and I don't like him. Like Hulk is good,
yeah,
but Ruffalo, no. I don't
and especially that they turned in quotes smart into just Ruffalo.
Oh. No. The best is when they talk about who they supported in the election. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love it. Oh, a bunch of trash bags.
Yeah.
But Ed Norton was so much better. He actually understood the character better. He understood. He did a really good with Bruce Banner, understanding the torch. He's a tortured character. You never got that with Ruffalo.
Yeah, Ruffalo was just. I mean, the only thing I would say, if there was one scene in everything that Mark Ruffalo's played Bruce Banner as, there's only one scene that I actually look at it and go, oh, that's pretty good, as far as him playing Bruce Banner. And that was the very first fucking time we see him in the Avengers movie, when Black Widow tracks him down in that little fucking hut.
Yep.
That was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, they just let Mark Ruffalo fucking be Mark Ruffalo after that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But the Avengers movie is the only time he played a good Bruce Banner Hulk.
Yeah.
Because the role was written for Ed Norton.
Well, yeah, I mean, that first movie was written for Ed Norton. And I do like that scene. That scene is good when she comes in and she's talking. That's a good scene.
Everybody loved the moment too. Like when the key is, I'm always angry. He just turns around in full transformation and takes out that big flying dragon.
Avengers 1 is a perfect movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorites. I will revisit that almost more than that and the Captain Americas. Sad what we have now versus what we had then.
Yep. Preston Garvey in the chat says, "Does Ruffalo ruffle your feathers?" That just sucks because he's kind of a shitty human being.
Oh, yeah.
And he's playing a beloved classic character. You know, that's what sucks about it. But okay, switch gears here for just a minute. I watched a pretty good movie this week. I went to the movies, actually, for the first time in a while, and saw that new movie with Short Round, Love Hurts.
Oh,
now,
that's that movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Let
me be real clear. This is not like a movie you need to go to the movies to see. Okay? Like, it was good. I'm glad I went to the movies to see it. Me and my wife had fun. And it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. However, it's not the type of movie that, like, really... You know, like there was nothing about it that's like, oh, you have to see it in the movie theater. It's pretty small movie. And for those that don't know, I mean, and I'm calling him Short Round because I cannot say his name, but Short Round, all grown up, and he plays like basically an ex-assassin who now is a realtor and sells houses, and then shit from his past comes back. And he has to like kind of get back into it to survive.
Is it Kamala? Is it?
Is it Kamala
the guy that keeps coming for the heart?
Dude, show up, start ripping people's hearts out.
I've come for you. It's that kid he beat up. Remember the kid he poked with the kid poked him with the dagger, so he hit him with the fire.
Yeah.
The premise sounds like they've done other movies and TV shows.
Oh yeah, there's nothing original about the movie. Like I said, like it's not a movie you like have to go to the movies. First of all, because it's just not that kind of movie, and second, because it's actually already on the website in HD. It like showed up on the website in HD yesterday. I went and saw it Thursday at the movies, me and my wife, and then it showed up on the website in HD yesterday. But so you can watch it. But It was good, man. It was fun. I like Short Round because I grew up with Indiana Jones. I grew up with Goonies, right? Like I like him, and I like seeing him grown up, and he was getting to do all the kung fu and stuff, and he's getting to play like a mild-mannered realtor that you find out is a badass like assassin, and it was just kind of dumb fun. You know what I mean? Had some cool action in it, decent characters. What's his name? God damn it, Sean Astin is in it. He's only in a couple of scenes, but he plays his boss at the real estate agency.
Well, that's cool. They're in it
and there's
together.
some good scenes between the two of them. Certainly, especially the first scene, but there's really only two scenes with him in it. One is between the two of them, and one is Sean Astin dealing with other characters. But certainly the first scene is straight up like Goonies fan service, because it's I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like if you've watched Goonies, you'll watch that scene and be like, oh shit, because it's just about these two characters really, really liking each other and how they've changed each other's lives and become like brothers.
Oh, did you? Speaking of Goonies, did you hear the announcement?
Oh, that they're going to be doing a Goonies too? Yeah, they announced that like a year and a half ago, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen.
Oh, it's official now.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, we're about 30 years, 35 years too late, right? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, man. It's not gonna be the same. They're
Here's
all
what's
gonna
going to
be
happen.
old.
It's going to be about their kids. That's what it's going to be
Yeah,
about.
but it's gonna be
Oh shit!
stupid.
It's got to be about their grandkids now.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like sometimes,
Right.
like leave it alone. Like I enjoy Stranger Things because it feels that Goonies feeling to me much better than like I don't want to see Goonies now. Like I like what are you gonna do? Like the Fratellis are gonna come back to like to get them? Like the guy who played Sloth is dead.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like sometimes I
Chunk don't look like Chunk no more.
yeah, he's like skinny, so like it's not gonna be funny. I mean, you should have done it when like a year or two afterwards, when the strike when it's hot, strike when the iron's hot, man.
What been kind of cool if they kind of done something a little short or something way back. No, they didn't do kind of short stuff like that back in the day, but some kind of little short story of like the ship just sail on its own. Like we have like large ships that actually just overtake it and get it. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, look, if it comes out, I'll watch it. You know what I mean? Probably won't be any good, but I'll watch it. But if you want to see at least a brief moment of Goonies goodness, go watch Love Hurts. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think everybody will like it. Like I said, not the greatest movie ever, but it was fun. So sometimes you just need brainless fun with nothing. You know what I mean? Like the movie didn't have any agendas. It wasn't pushing any political points or anything like that. It was just kind of a dumb, fun movie. And that's what we need more of.
yeah. Oh, and the touch back when I was talking about like the Mark Wade, Mark Zaid stuff. I just happened to look at my phone. I said I saw I had a message. Well, they just sent me a thing that Trump pulled at Mark Zaid guy's security clearance. He had top secret clearance. No, they don't.
No. I'm not even going to get into the politics of it, but that whole top secret clearance crap is abused.
Yeah, the only reason I brought him up because it's comic book related. Somehow, Mark Wade got a 6-figure lawyer for a tortious interference case for comic books.
Yeah, that's definitely fishy. There's some weird shit going on there. The other thing that I was supposed to watch that I haven't is Invincible. They dropped the first 3 episodes.
I watched all 3 episodes ready for this.
I only watched the first half of the first episode because I have literally not stopped packing and moving and doing things since we talked about it last night.
That's a
Since I
lot
got off
of
my shows.
moving across.
I'm letting it build. Like, I'm not even watching it yet.
I'm gonna try and finish watching them, but I mean, I literally show for me starts at 8:00. I sat down with dinner right here in front of this computer at 7:30 and was like, okay, maybe I can at least watch the first episode. And then I looked, and the first episode is 48 minutes long, and I was like, fuck. So I watched as much of it as I could before the show had to start tonight. That being said, like, I watched like the first 20 minutes of the first episode, and it was Invincible. Like, it was good. I was enjoying it. I was getting into it. So, you know, I really can't say much more than that, other than, look, Invincible's been a show I have liked from the beginning. And if what I have seen so far of the first episode is any indication, it's going to be just another season that I probably enjoy.
It's good. All 3 episodes are good.
Yeah,
it's following the comics pretty well too.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a show that I've liked. Like, I liked the first season, liked the second season. It's been a great show, very well done. And I've never been disappointed in it so far. I have no reason to believe all of a sudden now in season 3 it's gonna suck. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I'll try. I'm gonna try and finish it this weekend. But I've got more packing to do, and tomorrow from like 2:00 till probably 10. We're going to be over at family's house because they want to have dinner and watch the Super Bowl. Since we're going to be leaving in a couple days, they want to have a little, like, you know, family get together. So half my day tomorrow is already gone. So I'd like to watch these 3 episodes before I have to get on the road. It would be nice. But anyway.
Well, you won't really have a chance to talk about them for a while too, though. So you got plenty of time.
Yeah, I got time. But I still want to watch it. I love Invincible. It's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to watch it. I just haven't had a chance. I've barely been home at all today. I went and got the belts changed on my Suburban. I had to help move some other stuff. I had to, like, it's just been nonstop. The closer it gets to when we're supposed to leave, which is going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's just getting crazier and crazier every damn second.
Your nerves are going to be messing with you all week now. Like,
the what?
You don't want to forget. Your nerves are going to be bothering you all week. It's like, I don't want to forget anything. Everything's in check. And
yeah,
it's like anytime when I leave a hotel room, I'm like, did I leave anything? You're moving the entire house.
The only good thing about that is we are literally emptying the entire house. So, like, if there's something sitting there, it's like, oh yeah, we definitely forgot the only thing left in this room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit easier because, I mean, we're taking, like, anything we're either taking it or getting rid of it. You know what I mean? So hopefully shouldn't be forgetting anything. But
my moves, farthest move I've done was like a 2-hour move. So you're doing 26 hour.
Yeah. Farthest I've ever moved before. Actually, they're both pretty much the same. It was either when I moved from Dallas to the Colorado Rockies, or when I moved from Dallas to down here. Both are pretty equal distances. But here's the thing: at that time, neither of those 2 moves took place when I had a lot of shit or lots of kids. You know what I mean? So those were fairly easy moves. It was like pack up all your shit in a truck and go kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like that, and that was it. Hell, when I moved to Colorado, I was driving a Honda CRX, and I took everything I had and owned and gave a shit about in a Honda CRX. like that was it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, you know, that was not a difficult move. So
you can't do what I used to do with that move. I used to get a storage unit. Like if I was going to move from one apartment to another, I'd load like a month's time, load everything up to the storage unit so the apartment's empty.
Yeah, and just bring stuff in as you need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would do that.
I mean, I could spend a whole bunch of money to do that if I wanted to. Like, you can get those companies that'll like put all your shit in a giant
pods
container or whatever. Yeah, like, but that's way more than renting a truck. So,
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know if my neighbors will want like a fucking pod parked out in front of the house while I don't know how that shit works, but
Seems like I would actually like worry about them like picking my stuff up off the ground in the pod and putting on the truck too, and where things would shift around.
yeah.
As a guy who did that, because that's how the military moves you if you live off base or something like that, it's a horrible experience. It is a nightmare. But that's probably because it's the military and they're all retarded. So that's probably something to do with it.
Well, you when you got out of the military, you had a nice long move. You went from California all the way to Michigan, right?
Yeah, but they picked up everything and put it in a truck, and then I just drove my Jeep back with my dog, and just like made my way back in a couple days. But
Okay,
yikes.
so yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah,
That's a long drive.
3D prints says don't pull a Home Alone, leave your youngest kid with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. Trump's ear circumcision says, ew, Honda CRX, it's all about the Del Sol. When I moved to Colorado, Del Sols didn't exist. I moved to Colorado in 95. The
Wow.
Honda Del Sol was not a car then. Yes,
95.
I know the Honda Del Sol was like the replacement for the Honda CRX, but at the time it was not a car yet.
So you
When I
moved right
to
out of
Colorado. It was a long time ago.
As soon as you graduated, didn't you?
Actually, I graduated a couple years early, but yeah. So I was already. I moved out.
Wait a
I
minute.
moved out.
You graduated early? Nerd.
Yeah, I graduated early, and I moved out the day I turned 17, and got an apartment with a friend of mine who was a year older. And then a year later was when we moved to Colorado. So, yeah. I moved to Colorado when I was 18 because we thought it was fun, actually. I'm not going to bitch and lie about it. Like, it was fun. I mean, we lived up there.
I think it's the riding trips off with Honda.
Yeah. But.
Or you were talking about before all this came about, it's like you were talking about doing that riding trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of a little harder to do now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know. He wants to do that in May, I think. But I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. But anyway. All right, guys. Look, I'm gonna cut the chat short for tonight because, again, really fucking busy. I got a lot of shit to do. So we will cut it short. I won't be back pretty much probably this next week. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play it by ear, but probably you guys aren't going to see me for at least a week on either channel.
Aww.
Yeah. So I will be moving across country. That is what I'm doing this week. So hopefully in about a week or so, you guys will see me again. But at the moment, not going to happen. Okay, not for this week. So, but we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go back to running around like an idiot around my house, moving shit and packing shit and throwing stuff in boxes and all this other stuff. And I hope you guys have a great fucking week. I'll miss doing the chats, but like I said, ain't got no choice. So,
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to Leia.
It's all about me.
Me.
This show's all about me.
Until tomorrow, then it's my birthday. Until tomorrow, then it's my birthday.
Oh,
Tomorrow's my birthday.
Tuesday is mine, so.
Jesus.
They're playing the Super Bowl for me.
And,
All for me.
Well, it's my birthday, so it's mine too. No, I'm not going to watch. I'm going to do his live stream.
Everybody's parents was fucking in May, huh? Jesus. Anyway, May was a good month for a lot of y'all's parents. Anyway,
Today,
all right.
Springtime.
I got a friend named Bob Barker, and his birthday was today.
See, everybody's parents was fucking in May. All right, guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your week. We'll see you guys here back in about a week or so. I don't know. Well, I don't know specifically when. I'll let everybody know on Discord what's going on. But we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys watching and having some fun with us. And we'll see you guys next time. So take it easy, dudes. Have fun. Enjoy your shit.